Hello everybody, my name is Jernej Stopar and I'm special education teacher on primary school in Laško in Slovenia. Have you ever met a person with Down syndrome? Does your child have Down syndrome? What do you know about her or his vision? I have aunt with Down syndrome and my whole life that was my question, until now. For my master degree, I did a study about how to prepare a person with Down syndrome for an ophthalmological examination. Had your vision ever been tested? I suppose yes. Then you know that you must cooperate for successful results. Some people need help because this is just too much for them. People with Down syndrome have specific characteristics in communication, understanding, attention, and cooperation, but you probably know that. Don't worry, with proper preparation and adjustments, we could mitigate the problems and carry out ophthalmological examinations efficiently. To discover how we can prepare an individual for inspection and what adjustments we can offer, I researched topic with telephone conversations, online questionnaire for parents and interview with vision specialists. After collecting all answers, I concluded that not every person with Down syndrome needs special adjustments during the process of the examination. Problems especially arise from lack of cooperating skills such as focusing, tracking the line when naming symbols, for example, trying not to blink, understanding given instructions during the process, asking questions and answering. These skills were then in my mind for preparing activities for their improvement. Parents and children with Down syndrome in Slovenia have different experiences in ophthalmological examinations, cooperating with specialists and so on, and most of them are, thanks God, positive. Still, they would recommend more adjustments during the examination for more successful results. What are the problems which can occur during the examination? For example, person's speech is not understandable to specialists or person even doesn't talk. Person feels fear of specialists, devices, tools and could even cry. Person, for example, cannot sit still. Person is not motivated for cooperating. Person needs much more time as scheduled for the examination. Or person does not have developed skills for successful cooperation. Like I said before, focusing, tracking the line, naming symbols, understanding instructions, asking, answering, and so on. All data obtained was used to design the outline of the preparation of a person with Down syndrome for an ophthalmological examination, which contains some information about people with Down syndrome's vision, preparation activities for skills, activities for reducing stress and anxiety, the most important adjustments during the examination, activities to get person with Down syndrome accustomed to wearing glasses, because believe me, that could be a real problem. Then a checklist for quick screening of person's vision and introduction of process of ophthalmological examination for people with Down syndrome in easy reading so they can understand it. With illustrations. I also wrote some instructions and tips for parents and vision specialists about how to communicate, work and approach to people with Down syndrome in order to provide proper cooperation during the process of examination. I also carried out a case study where I interviewed a person with Down syndrome and prepared her for the ophthalmological examination. In the end, specialists carried out the ophthalmological examination, which was very, very successful. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye. Hello everybody, my name is Jernej Stopar and I'm special education teacher on primary school in Laško in Slovenia. Have you ever met a person with Down syndrome? Does your child have Down syndrome? What do you know about her or his vision? I have aunt with Down syndrome and my whole life that was my question, until now. For my master degree, I did a study about how to prepare a person with Down syndrome for an ophthalmological examination. Had your vision ever been tested? I suppose yes. Then you know that you must cooperate for successful results. Some people need help because this is just too much for them. People with Down syndrome have specific characteristics in communication, understanding, attention, and cooperation, but you probably know that. Don't worry, with proper preparation and adjustments, we could mitigate the problems and carry out ophthalmological examinations efficiently. To discover how we can prepare an individual for inspection and what adjustments we can offer, I researched topic with telephone conversations, online questionnaire for parents and interview with vision specialists. After collecting all answers, I concluded that not every person with Down syndrome needs special adjustments during the process of the examination. Problems especially arise from lack of cooperating skills such as focusing, tracking the line when naming symbols, for example, trying not to blink, understanding given instructions during the process, asking questions and answering. These skills were then in my mind for preparing activities for their improvement. Parents and children with Down syndrome in Slovenia have different experiences in ophthalmological examinations, cooperating with specialists and so on, and most of them are, thanks God, positive. Still, they would recommend more adjustments during the examination for more successful results. What are the problems which can occur during the examination? For example, person's speech is not understandable to specialists or person even doesn't talk. Person feels fear of specialists, devices, tools and could even cry. Person, for example, cannot sit still. Person is not motivated for cooperating. Person needs much more time as scheduled for the examination, or person does not have developed skills for successful cooperation. Like I said before, focusing, tracking the line, naming symbols, understanding instructions, asking, answering, and so on. All data obtained was used to design the outline of the preparation of a person with Down syndrome for an ophthalmological examination, which contains some information about people with Down syndrome's vision, preparation activities for skills, activities for reducing stress and anxiety, the most important adjustments during the examination, activities to get person with Down syndrome accustomed to wearing glasses, because believe me, that could be a real problem. Then a checklist for a quick screening of person's vision and introduction of process of ophthalmological examination for people with Down syndrome in easy reading so they can understand it. With illustrations. I also wrote some instructions and tips for parents and vision specialists about how to communicate, work and approach to people with Down syndrome in order to provide proper cooperation during the process of examination. I also carried out a case study where I interviewed a person with Down syndrome and prepared her for the ophthalmological examination. In the end, specialists carried out the ophthalmological examination, which was very, very successful. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye. Hello, everybody. My name is Jernej Stopar, and I'm special education teacher in primary school in Laško in Slovenia. Have you
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. All around the world, we welcome you to the World Society of Pediatric Ophthalmology and Strabismus webinar, Season 3, Down Syndrome, How My Family and I Dealt with It. On behalf of WSPOS, the largest society in the world for specialists dealing with children and their eye disorders, as well as those who suffer from strabismus. It's also a charity. I welcome you on behalf of all of our participants, I also want to add, in these difficult and turbulent times, our thoughts and prayers go out to all of those around the world in need. So today, all of us are learners and all of us are teachers. Today, if you're a doctor, you're going to learn from families. And today, if you're in the family of someone who has Down syndrome, you're going to learn from other families and maybe get some feedback from doctors. But all of us will be sharing with each other. Who's going to be speaking today? Let's tell you about our panel.
Hi, everybody. Welcome again. Like David said, we had a fabulous webinar yesterday about the ocular problems in Down syndrome. And this webinar today really was the brainchild of Ramesh Kekanuya. I want to introduce our panelists. We've got Adedeo Adio, professor and consultant pediatric ophthalmologist, University of Port Harcourt in Nigeria. She's amazing. You can see she's a chairperson of NIPOS, director of the TLEC Rehab Center for the Blind in Nigeria, member of the Scientific and Ethics Bureau of WSPOS. Chianti Reisser de Roosman, pediatric ophthalmology and strabismus consultant from Indonesia. She's head of ophthalmology service at the EKA hospital and a member of the Connectivity Bureau of WSPOS. I don't think Mauro Goldschmidt needs any introduction. Mauro is executive director and founder of the Strabismus Institute from Brazil and a member of the Scientific Bureau. And of course, David Granite is co-executive director of WSPOS and professor of ophthalmology and pediatrics in San Diego at the UCSD. David?
So our other panelists include Max Serafino, who is chief of pediatric ophthalmology in Genoa, Italy. He is one of the most energetic people I've ever met, and I'm looking forward to hearing his thoughts today, and he's part of our scientific bureau at WSPOS. Mina Matafsi, who is a double doctor, an MD and a PhD, an associate professor, is in one of my favorite countries in the whole world, Greece, where I spent my honeymoon, and is a member of the Connectivity Bureau for WSPOS. We also have with us Ramesh Kekanuya, who helped birth this idea that we're going to share with you today, who's the director of the Child Sight Institute and Center for Technology Innovation. And if you haven't seen some of the things they're doing, please take a moment and look, because there's pure genius going on. And Hyderabad, India, where Ramesh is at LV Prasad Eye Institute. He is also a member of our executive bureau for WSPOS. And my co-moderator today is also the co-executive director of WSPOS, Dr. Ken Nischel, who's vice chair in the Department of Ophthalmology at UPMC, University of Pittsburgh Medical Center. And he's division chief of pediatric ophthalmology and strabismus at the Children's Hospital as well in Pittsburgh. With that, Ken, I'll turn it back to you to begin to get everything started. For those of you listening out there in the audience, please, we want to answer your questions. On YouTube, wherever you are, please type in your comments. We also love to hear where you're from, and we're getting some people letting us know now from all over the world, from different places. I am seeing people from Australia. I'm looking down to see this list of names that I'm getting from Australia, from Singapore, from Hong Kong, from all over South America, Chile, Argentina, Brazil, Colombia, the Dominican Republic, Ecuador, Mexico is here, America, the United States of America is here, Canada is here, all over Europe. With what's going on, we're still getting people coming in for this webinar in the UK, in France, Italy, in Spain, in Germany, in Switzerland, Sweden, Norway. It's unbelievable. We have people from Ukraine, God bless. We have people from Russia. Our thoughts are with the people there too. So we have people from everywhere. We have people in the Middle East, in Saudi Arabia, in the UAE, in Jordan, Lebanon, Israel. We have people in Africa, Kenya, Nigeria, South Africa. The whole globe is here listening, and it's going to get, I can't list 192 countries because it looks like we have everybody here, but thank you all for joining us. And please remember, for participation certificates, email program at WSPOS.org. Portugal is also here. I'm getting more. I can't say everybody, but thank you for joining us. And Ken, I think we need to kick this off.
So just to remind everybody, please turn on the subtitles on YouTube. Clips in different languages other than English have been translated, so there'll be a subtitle. But people from different parts of the world might have different English accents. Remember, if you speak English as your second language, your accent is your perspective. And so just to make sure that your perspective is heard and understood, please switch on the subtitle facility on YouTube. So with that, it gives me absolutely great pleasure to introduce Chianti Reisser de Roosman. Chianti is an absolute force of nature. The work she does in Indonesia quietly, very humbly, is amazing. And Chianti is going to give us an overview of some of the ocular problems in Down syndromes. Chianti, here's your first slide.
Thank you, Ken. Greetings to friends of Down syndrome from around the world. I'm thrilled to be here with you today to commemorate the World Down Syndrome Day tomorrow. So before we proceed to the parent-patient-centric sharing and discussion, allow me to describe briefly the most common eye problems that can be found in Down syndrome, because individuals with Down syndrome are at risk of developing various eye problems, and more than 50% of individuals with Down syndrome have eye problems ranging from non-sight-threatening to sight-threatening conditions, and when found and treated early can have significant impact on development and the quality of life. Slide, please.
All right.
Yes. In this slide, we describe the common eye manifestations in Down syndrome, which is relatively not sight-threatening. The common features include upward slanting of eyelid fissure that occurs 60 to 80% in Down syndrome children, large epicanthal folds, you can see in the picture there, blepharitis or inflammation of the eyelid, epiblepharon that can cause eyelash to rub against the ocular surface, obstruction of the tear duct or nasolacrimal duct obstruction that can cause tearing, and brush-filled spots on the iris. And on to the next slide, some of the common eye problems that can have significant impact on a child's vision are eye misalignment or strabismus or squint, nystagmus or involuntary movement of the eye, refractive errors, which is correctable to glasses and most common, about 50 to 80% of children with Down syndrome can have refractive errors that present with myopia or nearsightedness, farsightedness, and astigmatism. Both eye misalignment and uncorrected refractive errors can cause lazy eye, affecting stereoscopic vision. Individuals with Down syndrome may also have accommodation problem that can affect their ability to focus from distance to near. Cataracts or lens opacity can also be found either at infancy or developing later in life, occurring at about 4 to 30%. And another eye problems that can be found is called keratoconus, which is a cone-shaped distortion of the cornea or the front layer of the eye, which is less common, occurring about less than 15%. And the two other sight-threatening condition is optic nerve anomaly and glaucoma, which is quite rare, but may occur in children with Down syndrome. Next slide, please. So to sum up the recommendation for eye examination from the American Academy of Pediatrics, they recommend that individuals with Down syndrome have an eye examination within the first 6 months of life and to be repeated every year from age 1 to 5 years, every 2 years from 5 to 13 years, and every 3 years from age 13 to 21 years. However, these are not rigid recommendations and must be tailored to each child's needs and conditions. Next slide, please. So I want to keep it brief, and I want to wrap up my brief presentation with several pictures that was taken on several occasions last year. This was me collaborating with nonprofit foundation of parents of Down syndrome in Indonesia called Yayasan Potats. Last year, we conducted a webinar to 100 parents across Indonesia, and together with my colleague here, Dr. Soraya Ferranti, we tried to educate parents on how to assess their children's eyesight at home using smartphone application. And we thought that this would at least be helpful to parents, which at the time were hesitant to bring their children for an eye checkup due to COVID. The steps of the eyesight test can be rewatched at the Potats YouTube channel. And just at the end of the year 2021, we also collaborated in conducting free eye examinations and dispensed free glasses to 18 Down syndrome children from underprivileged families in Jakarta. So to summarize, I just want to quote what Magic Johnson once said, that all children need a little help, a little hope, and somebody who believes in them. I believe that together it is up to us adults and to give them all the best that we can to bring out the best in them. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chianti. That's wonderful. I mean, the work you do really is quite amazing. I just want to add before we start the first videos, there was a webinar yesterday that can be seen on the WSPOS YouTube channel, which adds some more meat to the brief summary that Chianti's done so very well for us. Thank you very much, Chianti. Okay, so the way we are going to do this is we're going to play some clips that are pre-recorded by parents of children who have Down syndrome, and then we'll take some breaks and have some discussion. Before the live webinar started, there was an excellent animated video from Mansa Takovic Pompey, whose patient had put this together about how to prepare a child for an ophthalmic examination. Do have a look at that later on. This is all recorded. Okay.
In answering the set B question about experiences living with and managing Down syndrome, it was initially quite a hard. It was initially difficult when he was much younger. The developmental delays and generally the society, people around not really understanding his condition and what it entailed. But apart from that, he's really flourished over time. He still has speech problems and some balance, but overall, we thank God. We thank God that he's making progress little by little.
Well, receiving the news that Pedro had Down syndrome one day after he was born was probably the most difficult day of my life. Not only because I was not expecting the news, but also because I had no information whatsoever regarding people with disabilities, Down syndrome, inclusion, diversity, and so on. And also, unfortunately, until I was 38 years old, that was the age that I had when Pedro was born, I had no opportunity to be with people different from me. So every time in my life that I don't know, just when I met someone with Down syndrome, I thought, he is different from me. That's how I was thinking. And nowadays, I don't think he's different from me. I think that we are different from each other. So Pedro taught me a lot. And after he was born, me and my family, we were involved with a lot of issues regarding to inclusion. And we founded an NGO entity called Serendipity. And it's been a while. After 4 years, we've developed a lot of programs towards inclusion and diversity, especially in schools, in companies, and with old people with Down syndrome, because hopefully they're living more, but we don't have that kind of attention to the old people with Down syndrome nowadays that we have to the kids. So we're thinking about that in Brazil, and this changed my life a lot. I have a lot of friends nowadays with a lot of disabilities, with a lot of issues that I didn't have before, and I can tell you for sure that I'm a very, very, very a better person. I'm not better than anyone. I'm just a better version of myself. Okay? Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Hola, soy Cristina Lara, la mamá de Juan Andrés, nacido en Colombia y con condición síndrome de Down. Mi hijo tiene 10 años y en su tiempo de vida he aprendido que lamentablemente en la sociedad nuestros niños y en general las personas con condición son discriminadas y rechazadas, por lo que siento que nuestro deber como padres es ayudarles y darles las herramientas para que cuando llegue el momento de enfrentarse ellos solos a la sociedad se sientan empoderados. Por lo cual, como familia y considerando las particularidades de nuestro hijo Juan Andrés, decidimos contribuir para que su aspecto no fuera un motivo de bullying y con ayuda de nuestra oftalmóloga de cabecera, la doctora Fernández, optamos por la cirugía de corrección de desviación, la cual realizamos hace algunos meses y ha logrado alcanzar todas las expectativas que teníamos, generando no solo una corrección visual, sino también una mejor calidad de vida para nuestro hijo a largo plazo y estamos seguros que en el futuro, si es necesario realizar más cirugías que contribuyan a mejorar la salud, bienestar y calidad de vida de nuestro hijo, lo haremos sin dudar.
Okay, I'm going to stop sharing for a second so everybody's on. I'm going to open it up. The first thing that strikes me is that it doesn't matter where you are in the world or who you are, which culture you're from. It's still a shock, I guess, when somebody tells you you have a child with Down syndrome. Adia, the first parent was a patient of yours or somebody you know. Do you think there are cultural differences around the world to children who have Down syndrome?
I think it's the same all over the world. What you don't understand or what you have never seen before can be a bit of a shock, particularly if you have not grown up in an environment where there are people that could have that sort of condition. So I think it's the same all over the world, but maybe in some particular areas, depending on their beliefs and some previous experience they've had before, they might feel a little much more difficulty in blending and people accepting them. In this particular environment where this lady came from, she's from the north of Nigeria, so there might be a little bit of more in terms of acceptance when they see something different. I think all we just need is more education, more opening up to the people and let people know, don't hide these children away from them. Let people know that this child is pretty much a little bit different, but still somebody that you can actually love.
Anyone else? I mean,
yeah, Ken, I'm gonna just jump in just for a second because I think what Adedeo just said was really powerful. And part of it is that what we heard in the second video from Brazil, which was the dad who said that he had no opportunity to meet someone previously who had special needs or who had Down syndrome. And I think that, you know, that's part of the education is the interaction. My middle son, when he was 13, he was an ice hockey player and he started a program for children with developmental disabilities and many with Down syndrome to learn how to play ice hockey. And although that helped those children, it impacted the teenage kids who came out to teach more because they got exposed and got to interact with families and with children with Down syndrome, and it changed them forever. Mauro, I was struck by your patient and what he said in terms of no opportunity and how it changed him. You know that family and you probably watched them over time. I was wondering what your thoughts were.
Yeah, I think that there are two things that are common around the world. The first one is the feeling. It doesn't matter where in the world you are, when you get the notice that you have a child with Down syndrome, the feeling you have doesn't change according to the place you live. The second is that the phrase that says special children, they come for parents who are able to take care of them. I don't believe in this. I think this we are not prepared even for children who comes with no problems. They challenge us every time. So I think that when you face a doctor coming to you and saying that your child has Down syndrome, It moves you like this guy Henry. He said that changed his life, and he became a better person. As you all know, I've been through this with my daughter, and this is my feeling also, that we change ourselves.
Yeah, and the same parent, Mauro, talked about this discrimination. And a few months ago in Italy, we heard the notice on TV about a girl with Down syndrome that was bullied at the school. And the mayor of this little town decided to accompany this girl to the school in the morning, hand by hand, to show all boys, all other schoolmates that was wrong.
Max, I can tell you that I have to take my daughter. I changed my daughter from school because of bullying, and bullying for me, it's kind of an iceberg. The upper part, the beautiful one that we see, it's a small part. The dirty one and the big one is underwater, what we are not seeing. So we have to pay attention and tell the parents to be aware of what is going on the relationships of the child.
So I just want to, yesterday, Kishore Velodi, who is a pediatrician, said that children with Down syndrome have the same gamut of emotions that every other child has. And that depression, sadness, and happiness are all part of what they feel. And I think that you're right. You have to tell. I don't spend enough time talking to parents about all of the things I heard yesterday and what I'm hearing today. And I'm going to do that. This is going to change my practice, because the parents need support. I know that when I see a child who has, for example, a hemangioma on the forehead or on the eye, I spend time talking to those young mothers and saying, ignore the people who are going to walk up to you as strangers and say, what's wrong with your child's eye? You have to ignore them. And I think that that's something I need to do more with Down syndrome patients as well. Look, we have a lot more video. So when we come back after the next slot, we hopefully will get everybody else to talk as well. And so here's the next slot, which again is extremely interesting. Let me just play that.
E al comportamento che un oculista deve avere nei confronti di un ragazzino o di un bambino con sindrome di Down, per quello che è la nostra esperienza, abbiamo in realtà avuto diversi oculisti, ma quello che attualmente è il nostro oculista di fiducia è stato scelto, oltre che chiaramente per la sua professionalità, ma soprattutto per l'empatia che mostra nei confronti di Dario e soprattutto anche nei confronti della famiglia. Infatti, durante le visite lui mette a proprio agio innanzitutto la famiglia, i genitori, e poi si rivolge al bambino che così manifesta serenità perché trasmette, diciamo, raccoglie la serenità dei genitori e quindi si lascia visitare senza problemi ed è anche collaborativo. Agli altri genitori mi sento di raccomandare una visita precoce dall'oculista per i propri figli e soprattutto di avere una frequenza regolare nel condurre queste visite, perché ecco, come è capitato a noi, potrebbero esserci degli eventi dei quali non si è a conoscenza che possono compromettere seriamente la vista dei vostri figli e non accorgersene. Riguardo quindi ad una riflessione definitiva rispetto alle caratteristiche che deve avere un oculista che si approccia con un bambino o con un ragazzino con sindrome di Down, mi sento di dire la parola empatia, sia nei confronti del bambino che nei confronti dei genitori. Grazie a tutti e buon lavoro.
What's your name? Parents Sidhu. Okay, what's your mother name? Gitu Dhiman. मैं गीतू धीमान और ये मेरा बेटा Parents Sidhu. Parents Sidhu जो है वो डाउन सिंड्रोम बेबी है और 4 जनवरी 2013 को इसका बर्थ हुआ था जब मुझे पता चला कि ये डाउन सिंड्रोम है। डाउन सिंड्रोम हमारी फैमिली में कभी भी नहीं मैंने वर्ड सुना था बट नेट पे कुछ सर्च किया तो वहाँ पे यूके एसोसिएशन में पता चला, डाउन सिंड्रोम एसोसिएशन में, कि इस टाइप के जो बच्चे होते हैं इनको एक स्पेशल केयर देनी पड़ती है। और मुझे डॉक्टर ने उसी टाइम में बताया कि इसकी आईज में भी प्रॉब्लम है, तो मुझे किसी आई डॉक्टर से कंसल्ट करना चाहिए। मैं पीजीआई में रेफर किया गया मुझे, और पीजीआई में जब ये अभी 1 मंथ का ही था तो इसकी बोथ का जो है ऑपरेशंस मुझे बताए गए, और उसी में उनका पता चला कि इसके हार्ट में भी छेद है, 2.2 mm का इसका छेद था, तो अब बिल्कुल सही है। और आइस का जो है इसका वो अभी तक इलाज चलता आ रहा है, क्योंकि पहले इसको कैटरेक्ट था, वो आई सर्जरी हुई इसकी दोनों बोथ आइस में, और फिर उसके बाद 2019 में रेटिनल डिटैचमेंट हो गया, जिसकी वजह से इसको थोड़ा देखने में मुश्किल हो रही थी, तो बोल नहीं पा रहा था, समझा नहीं पा रहा था, बट मुझे फील हो रहा था क्योंकि अंधेरे में इसको लगता था कि इसको कुछ दिख नहीं रहा, तो मुझे ऐसा लगा कि हाँ ये मुझे समझा रहा है। आपको मैं सिर्फ एक ही चीज कहना चाहूँगी सारे पेरेंट्स को, जो जिनके बच्चे डाउन सिंड्रोम हैं या डिफरेंटली एबल्ड बच्चे हैं, लाइक ऑटिज्म या किसी भी टाइप के बच्चे, प्लीज आप उनको बिल्कुल नॉर्मल बच्चों की तरह समझे। आप समझे कि आपको एक स्पेशल पर्सन भगवान ने चुनकर एक स्पेशल बच्चा दिया है, क्योंकि इनकी फीलिंग्स, इनकी जो बिहेवियर है, इनका जो खाना पीना, सब कुछ एक नॉर्मल बच्चों की तरह होता है। हर बच्चा जो है, अगर मैं मेरी क्लास में 40 स्टूडेंट्स थे, उस हर बच्चा जो है वो इंटेलिजेंट नहीं था, कोई बिलो एवरेज थे, कोई एवरेज था, कोई इंटेलिजेंट था, हर बच्चा डॉक्टर नहीं बनता, हर बच्चा इंजीनियर भी नहीं बनता। तो आप ऐसे ही इनके माइलस्टोन्स होते हैं, ये भी जो है जितने आप एफर्ट्स करोगे, नॉर्मल बच्चे के भी जितने हम एफर्ट्स करते हैं, उनको पढ़ाते हैं, उनको वो करते हैं। मैंने बहुत पेरेंट्स देखे हैं यहाँ पे मेरे साथ में, मेरी बेटी भी जो है वो डाउन सिंड्रोम, और वो रोती रहती थी कि मेरी बेटी डाउन सिंड्रोम है, मेरी बेटी डाउन सिंड्रोम है, तो बट मैं उन्हें ऑलवेज मोटिवेट करती थी। मैं भी बहुत डिप्रेस होती हूँ, बहुत ज़्यादा, क्योंकि बीइंग अ सिंगल मदर मेरे लिए बहुत डिफिकल्ट है इसको कई बार संभालना, क्योंकि जॉब भी करनी है और इसको देखना भी पड़ता है, इसके लिए थोड़े एफर्ट्स थोड़े ज़्यादा करने पड़ते हैं, और ज़्यादा कुछ नहीं है। फीलिंग्स इनकी बिल्कुल वैसे ही है। अगर मैं रोती हूँ, कई बार मैं इमोशनली बहुत लो फील करती हूँ। कुछ दिन पहले मेरा एक्सीडेंट हो गया था, तो मेरे बच्चे ने मुझे बोला, मामा एक्सीडेंट हो गया मामा का, तो मामा को खाई हो गई, ऐसे पूरा उसने मुझे प्यार किया, पूरा मुझे उसने केयर किया, और मैं जब रोती तो मुझे कहता, मामा रोना नहीं, मामा रो रही है, बहुत प्यार करता है। और मैं आपको यही सब चीजें बताना चाहूंगी कि प्लीज आप इनकी बहुत केयर कीजिए, जैसे अपने नॉर्मल बच्चों की केयर करते हैं, ये नॉर्मल ही हैं, इनको बिल्कुल भी आप एबनॉर्मल मत समझिए, डिफरेंट मत समझिए, ये बिल्कुल वैसी ही फीलिंग्स के साथ हैं बच्चे। और इनकी आईज की बात, इनमें जो डिफरेंट आजकल साइंस में बहुत ज्यादा एडवांस टेक्निक्स आ गई हैं, जैसे अब इसका देखिए, इसको कैटरेक्ट था, कैटरेक्ट में जो है इसके आईज की सर्जरी हो चुकी है ऑलरेडी, फिर इसकी रेटिनल डिटैचमेंट की सर्जरीज हो चुकी है, अभी इसकी रेगुलर चेकअप होते हैं, जिसके लिए मुझे रेगुलर पीजीआई जाना पड़ता है। डॉक्टर्स बहुत अच्छे हैं, बस एक प्रॉब्लम है कि वहाँ टाइम लगता है। थोड़ा सा यही रिक्वेस्ट करूंगी कि अगर स्पेशल चाइल्ड को थोड़ा सा और जल्दी देख लें, क्योंकि मूडी हैं ये बच्चे, बहुत ज्यादा मूडी। और मैं सारी पीजीआई जितने भी डॉक्टर्स मेरे नोन में आए हैं अभी तक, इसके पैदा होने से आज 9 इयर्स हो गए मुझे वहां जाते जाते, पर मैं टूटी नहीं, वहां भी अपसेट हो जाती हूँ, बट अभी इतना नहीं टूटी कि भाई हम उसको ले जाना ही सकूं। बट 9 इयर्स में मैं जितने भी डॉक्टर्स मेरे सामने आए हैं, सभी डॉक्टर्स का मैं दिल से थैंक्स करती हूँ। और कई डॉक्टर्स हैं जिनके मुझे नेम्स भी नहीं पता, बट उन्होंने भी परिन को बहुत अच्छे से, परिन सिद्धू को बहुत अच्छे से ट्रीट किया है, और अभी भी कर रहे हैं। और मैं चाहती हूँ कि आगे भी इसको अच्छे से देखते रहें। और ये अभी थोड़ा सुस्त इसलिए क्योंकि हम पीजीआई से आए हैं अभी, इस वजह से थोड़ा सा सुस्त है, अदरवाइज ही इज वेरी एक्टिव और इंटेलिजेंट। थैंक यू। ओके, बाय करो। बाय बाय, लव यू। ओके।
we're very happy with our pediatrical ophthalmologist. So instead of saying what she could have done better, I'm gonna tell you what she did that made us happy. And what she did was advising us of ludic jokes and ludic activities in order to have Pedro getting used to the glasses faster. We did a lot of things, but one of them that I remember a lot in 2019, all of us, we're 5 in our family, were using glasses as well. I have to use it anyways, but my other kids and my wife, they don't. But we were using like kind of fake glasses. So Pedro, who was very young at that time, he was a year and a half, would look at us, see the glasses, and he would think, you know what? I think I need one of those. So this helped us a lot. It took us a while, probably 6 months for him to get used to it. And the funny thing is that nowadays he needs the glasses. So he asks for the glasses if he has to read anything, if he has to be a little bit in the iPad for any reason that we try to avoid, but a little bit he stays. He asks for the glasses. So I would say that the best thing for a family to help the kid to get used to the glasses is trying to do ludic activities.
And you know, when we started this, I said that we're going to be learning from each other. I don't think you can watch these videos and not think that we are learning from our patients and families that we take care of.
So I wanted to. I mean, there's so much in there, right? But Chianti and Mina and Ramesh, do you change the way you? What do you do differently if you know you've got a patient who has Down syndrome?
Well, I would try to allocate more time, and I would definitely suggest the parent to book a specific appointment that says we will need more time for the examination. So usually the appointment managers would take care of that. And so I will be able to spend more time with the family and the child as well. And I think most of the time, one visit may not be enough. And I don't want to push all examinations at one time, because it will traumatize the child. And when the child is traumatized, they will not be able to, it will be difficult for them to come back for us to see them. And I always stress out to the parents that we would want to make a good connection and relationship first, so that they trust us, me and the team involved in examining the child. So that that would how I would do differently.
Mina?
I totally agree. I try to do the same, take more time. I try to, if that is possible, not have the family wait for very long, because then the child might get more frustrated. And I try to play more games with the child, try to get more friendly with the child before doing anything. I think that's not just for Down syndrome, children with Down syndrome. Any child will not cooperate well, but I think we learn more from the more challenging patients we have, whether they have Down syndrome or not. So that's how I would approach, not really differently, but with a little bit more care.
Ramesh, in your clinic, what's your average number of patients that are booked into a clinic?
I thought I was coming into Ken. Pretty busy clinic, close to 65 to 70 patients in a day from morning till evening. I follow the same thing. Again, I look at, what's the age group and what characteristics, challenges they have. It's not that you have to kind of, label, this is a patient with the Down syndrome, I need to allocate. It's just that on the go, we need to decide. Some patients, we have optometrists doing the visual evaluation in the initial period. Average time, if I say 25 minutes, there'll be a signal. After 25 minutes, it will become green. But some patients with Down syndrome, it might take 40 minutes. It has taken 1 hour. We have to give that. Having said that, additional thing what we have to do is we have a lot of trainings. It's a continuous learning process for me and all of us. I think whenever we have to go along with them also, because this is what we need to train other people and give more time depending upon whatever issues. In spite of our best efforts, we are still learning. I'm not able to change the appointment time, whatever, with so many people, sometimes 3-4 patients with Down syndrome. These are all challenges of unique hospitals, I guess. But if I am given a chance, if I just have 10 or 15 patients, I would do that. I would ask them. But on a follow-up visit, I try to ask the parents, please take a morning appointment. I can't have all the patients coming in the morning, but I do suggest for some of the patients according to my first experience with that children. So these are some of the modifications I do get.
We have a question, David, that's come in, and I want you and Mauro, if you wouldn't mind answering this, and anybody else. So one of the mothers talked about her child having a hole in the heart, VSD, I'm assuming, which is really quite common in children with Down syndrome. And a question's come in from a parent about, is there a problem of using atropine if you're going to do refraction for a child who has Down syndrome and has a cardiac issue?
Well, Ken, I don't use atropine, so I can't answer this question. I use cycloplegic, and I had no problems with it in any patient.
I do the same, Ken, with atropine, even if they have esophagia, I have a fair success rate. If they have seizures, I avoid the cyclopentolate. I use homide eye drops. Otherwise, it's not even in cataract, post-cataract surgery, I don't use atropine eye drops. I still don't have experience with low-dose atropine for a myopia progression in patients with Down syndrome. So I have not encountered a patient with this kind of situation.
And I block the nasolacrimal duct system in anybody I think that might get a systemic response. We know from our glaucoma colleagues, you can stop about 80% of the absorption by doing that. So if I'm concerned about a seizure or other issues, I approach with that technique, just blocking on either side to help. Ken, one of the things that happened yesterday with the spectacular pediatrician that I think you recommended us to hear was he talked about language and how language drives perspective. We heard a mom talking about empathy and a little bit of grace. I think that when our language drives our perspective and we think of what he called people first language, that we're dealing with children and children who have Down syndrome or children who have whatever, that when you start to think that way with that people first language, that you really drive the perspective and understand empathy. You just talked about a child with a hole in the heart. Often children, right? People first, children with Down syndrome have other medical issues and they're running to doctors all the time. And they're trying to make appointments and they're trying to get there on time and they have other children and they're struggling to just be a parent. A little bit of empathy and grace goes a long way. But I think if our language and the way we think about how we approach different children we use that people first approach that he talked about yesterday, I think that helps us get there.
Yeah, and Ken, sorry. I think we have to figure out what we want to do. I mean, we want to do who we want to be. We want to be an ophthalmologist, or we want to be a doctor. I mean, it's pretty different. We want to take care just of the eye, I want to take care of the patients. If we want to take care of the patients, we have to develop a kind of empathy. That's I mean, what I try to do. I want to be a doctor, so I want to take care of the eye, of eye problem, of course, but take care of also of the patient and the family.
Max, I think that's so important, and I'm going to jump in and get like very excited and lean in now, because I think that when we stop and think about our job description, it's not to take care of the eyes. It's not, oh, we're going to straighten eyes, or we studied it. We have a 3-word job description. We help people. That is our 3-word job description. And sometimes families come in and you have to give them tips about the glasses, or you're a clearinghouse. You've watched families who've done fabulous jobs and families who have struggled. You can help that young family by giving them tips or information that you've been taught by your other patients. That may not be ophthalmology, but that is being a doctor.
Okay, look, we could talk all day, but we have some really exciting videos to share with you. So, okay, we're going to move on now, and here we go.
Anak pertama saya laki-laki bernama Hasan. Dia terlahir dengan sumbing bibir dan langit mulut. Hasan juga adalah seorang penyandang Down syndrome. Pada kesempatan kali ini, yang ingin saya sampaikan adalah masalah yang saya hadapi berkaitan dengan mata dan penglihatan Hasan. Hasan saat ini berusia 6 tahun. Sejak kelahirannya, saya rutin membawa Hasan per 6 bulan sekali untuk cek kesehatan matanya ke dokter mata anak. Di tahun 2019, saat Hasan berusia 4 tahun, ditemukan katarak yang secara tiba-tiba ada di kedua mata Hasan. Sampai akhirnya Hasan melakukan operasi katarak dan tanam lensa. Hasan mulai harus rutin menggunakan kacamata karena di matanya ada minus. Menjadikan tantangan tersendiri bagi kami karena Hasan sangat tidak kooperatif dan nampak sangat tidak nyaman atau belum terbiasa menggunakan kacamata. Lalu di pertengahan tahun 2021 kami menemukan merah di mata kanan Hasan dan ditemukan bahwa mata kanan Hasan mengalami ablasi retina total. Saat ini Hasan hanya memiliki mata kiri yang berfungsi meskipun mata kirinya sendiri saat ini sudah -7. Dalam hal ini memang Hasan memiliki kondisi sangat khusus di mana dia sama sekali tidak kooperatif, belum bisa bicara atau berkomunikasi dan tidak bisa mengikuti instruksi pemeriksaan. Untuk USG mata Hasan saja, kami biasanya memerlukan bantuan beberapa perawat untuk ikut serta menahan badan Hasan agar tetap tenang selama pemeriksaan. Untuk prosedur RedCam, pengukuran kacamata dan tekanan bola mata Hasan, kami harus mengambil jalur EUA, evaluasi under anestesi, yang dimana biaya dan tenaga yang kami keluarkan juga tidak sedikit. Kami berharap ada alat khusus dan penanganan yang lebih efisien untuk memeriksa mata pada anak Down syndrome atau berkebutuhan khusus lainnya. Hal tersebut kami dilakukan agar mendapatkan hasil yang akurat. Kami berharap adanya jam praktek khusus bagi anak-anak berkebutuhan khusus seperti Hasan, karena tentunya untuk anak kami sesi pemeriksaan akan menjadi agak lama dari biasanya. Selama ini kami agak kesulitan jika harus mengantri lama untuk pemeriksaan karena anak kami memiliki jam makan, minum obat, dan jam tidur yang harus tepat waktu, dan akan menjadikan anak kami berubah drastis moodnya atau menjadi tantrum apabila kebutuhannya terlewati.
Mi nombre es Shirley Cuella, soy la mamá de Juan Sebastián Bermúdez, un jovencito de 16 años. Nació con síndrome de Down. Los niños con esta condición nacen con diversas dificultades de salud, entre ellas la visual. El pediatra me refirió donde la doctora Andrea María Fernández, oftalmóloga, quien a través de un examen pudo determinar que Juan Sebastián tenía catarata congénita, miopía y astigmatismo. Ella determinó que habría que hacerle una cirugía a través de la cual le colocaron a Juan Sebastián lente intraocular. Después de la cirugía y de varios controles, la doctora le adaptó unas gafas a Juan Sebastián. Este proceso de adaptación para Juan Sebastián y para nosotros no fue nada fácil, ya que los niños con esta condición se les dificultan los cambios. Pero gracias al amor, a la paciencia, a la perseverancia, nosotros pudimos lograr que Juan Sebastián se adaptara a los dientes. Y hasta el día de hoy le ha ido muy bien, se adaptó después de un tiempo y pudo superar sus dificultades. Esta experiencia se las quería compartir porque son situaciones que vivimos los padres con los niños que tienen esta condición.
Okay. So I just wanted to discuss about that.
Yeah, Ken, I wanted to ask a question of Dio. We just heard a mom who talked about the impact of cataracts, but what struck me was that her child fights the exam. There's an emotional cost, and then there's a financial cost of going to the operating room to pay for anesthesia. There's the anesthesia risk. How do you deal with that post-cataract when we have to get a look, right? We have to be able to see the child. What are there any things that you do, or what do you think about in those situations? Dio?
Yeah. So the issues are there. I think like it's there in Indonesia, it's also there in Nigeria. The cost is the main thing. Once there is no health insurance, lots of the cost goes up. The cost goes way up for the parents, for their time, the effort that they have to expend, making sure the child doesn't eat before they come for the anesthesia. And you heard the lady saying a lot of people have to hold the child down, to ensure that surgeries and whatever procedure that needs to be done gets done. So it's just the same everywhere. So here in Nigeria, what we have done is we encourage those parents to have a regular time to come for checkups. And if you come regularly, particularly if you come to the rehab center, we ensure that your costs are way down. And then we use chloral hydrates if they are within the weight that is required, so that the cost of doing anesthesia goes down for simple procedures, examining them, making sure that their refraction is correct, and making sure that their pressures are checked and their eyes are checked for cataracts and stuff. So usually we don't like to use total anesthesia. We like to use chloral hydrate, particularly if they're still very small, between 3-4 years of age, or less than 20 kilograms. But if they are bigger than that, then they have to bear the cost of having an anesthetist put a tube down their throat. So I think health insurance is the way to go for children like this, special children like this, so that the costs go down for them.
Ramesh, when you're preparing a family for cataract surgery, and a family with a child that has Down syndrome, what do you tell them to prepare for? I always think about who has the harder job, the surgeon or the parent?
Yeah, there are three things, David, three things I think which is most important. One is the cost. Second is the systemic comorbidity. And the third one, I would say that real follow-up. It's not one cataract surgery is going to solve everything. So number one, the systemic risk factor. It applies to even examination under anesthesia, because people are from different economic and socio-economic status. So you have to customize these kind of advices depending upon that. Some of the parents can just come once. You need to make sure that, they get the best, whatever it is. Sometimes I have to implant an IOL in most of the cases. If I can, that's one of the things I would take it differently. Obviously, looking at the risk-benefit ratio, if the vitals of the eye permits, I would go for an implant in these kind of patients. In terms of cost, being in Ali Prasad, it's not a big issue because if they cannot afford, we can completely waive off the charges for them. So I hope more and more hospitals do that kind of approach in most of the countries. That'll really, because I have patients who have undergone 2 or 3 open heart surgeries and then other surgeries. And by that time, they had been diagnosed as strabismus or cataract. We have to look at these things and then customize. So I would emphasize on the cost, systemic comorbidity, and long-term follow-up. And wherever possible, it's better to implant an IOL in these kind of patients with cataract.
You know, I emphasize that. Sorry, David, I wanted to emphasize that it's really important. These children have terrible times wearing their glasses. There's a question coming from a parent about how did they choose the optimal spectacles, you know? And yesterday, actually, I think Maggie Woodhouse, or maybe it was Kishore Velodi, were talking about the different types of spectacles that actually can take into account the bridge of the nose of these children. And I think it's very important. If you leave them aphakic and they're not going to wear glasses because they don't fit, they will often not let you wear contact lenses. I think you're going to run into problems. The other thing that I think is important as far as the cataracts is concerned is, and I don't know how others in the panel feel about this, I try to do as much long-term periocular injection so that the parents are not having to struggle with the drops in. And the reason why that's important is I think it's very important before you hold a child down with Down syndrome to find out the status of their neck. Because if you're holding the head and they're struggling and they have an unstable neck or it hasn't been evaluated, then that's a real issue. That's something that you could inadvertently cause harm if you don't know what the stability of the neck is. And that's the first question I always ask them before we put drops in. Do we know the stability of the neck? And most parents say, yeah, it's fine, it's not a problem. And if they say we don't know, then I say we're going to try and put the drops in as simply as we can. If we don't get them in, then we're going to give you some drops and you put them in at home before you come in next time.
Ken, I was going to ask you.
I would like to add that if a child has heart disease and also has cataracts, it's better you take care of the heart disease first so that you can now go and help them do the cataract.
And Ken, what I was going to get a slightly granular is that your group and you have reported some techniques that we've learned from you using a portable slit lamp and using the Optos on babies and younger children for retinal imaging that my group's still trying to do, as well as I've seen you do it. Just a few tips, a little bit granular, but a few tips that you've learned in dealing with kids to examine them in the office.
So everything that I've just said, make sure you know what the general condition of the child is, as Adio mentioned. And then I found that I always ask the parents, is your child tactile? There are some children who have Down syndrome who love to be hugged. And if the parents don't mind you hugging their kid, that makes the child feel that it's not a doctor examining them. And then the other thing is the direct ophthalmoscope is one of the most underutilized pieces of equipment certainly in the United States and Europe. And it really does help you figure out what's going on before you actually have to use a slit lamp. And I think I have no financial interest in the Optos, but if you can't get drops in, you can still get a good picture of the fundus with the Optos. So
and you were the first person, Ken, the first person I ever saw hold a slit lamp upside down.
Yes. If you hold a slit lamp the normal way, if it knocks the child's chest, you've lost them. So you can turn it upside down and you can still see everything, but that bottom bit of the slit lamp is not going to hit the chest.
I love it. And I have to ask this one more question, and I know that we have time issues and stuff, but Mauro, I wanted to ask you both as a parent and as a doctor, what is it like for the other children in the family and the attention that's drawn to a child with lots of medical issues and other needs, how does it affect other children? And what should we tell the families to expect and warn them about?
I'm sure that when you have a disabled child at home, it changed lives for everyone, for parents and for their sisters and brothers. How much? It will depend on how the parents deal with it, and sometimes the different age between the children. If you have an older child that you can explain what's going on, and that makes things easier. But you're right, brothers and sisters, they suffer. They don't have a normal life when you have a disabled child at home.
Okay.
Did I answer your question?
Yeah, no, that's
yes.
Fabulous. We're going to have to move on, though, because we still have 10 clips to get through, and we need to make sure that we do that. So I'm being goaded. Here we go.
Que eu percebi ainda muito novinha foi esse problema da vista ficar ali um bocado estagnada e um bocadinho torta. Entretanto, foi operada e numa segunda consulta em que ela foi após a operação, estava tudo bem. Entretanto, ela começou a tremer novamente e quando chegámos à Estefânia nos disseram que já estava novamente, portanto, que a cirurgia pouco tinha feito ou nada e que teria que ser intervencionada com alguma urgência. E foi quando a América de Desenvolvimento na Estefânia nos disse, vamos marcar aqui para a doutora Rita, que está cá no hospital, e vamos ouvir novamente. Em que nos disse que não era necessariamente assim tão urgente estes óculos novamente, ela leva-os nos olhos, porque obriga-nos a ir à escola, ela coloca-os dentro da pasta, porque diz que realmente ela não vê bem com os óculos. Ela também tem voto na máscara. Ela já fez essa coisa que ela diz, eu sei aquilo que sinto. Foi aquilo que eu percebi ainda muito novinha, foi esse problema da vista ficar ali um bocado estagnada e um bocadinho torta. Entretanto, foi operada e numa segunda consulta em que ela foi após a operação, estava tudo bem. Entretanto, ela começou a tremer novamente e quando chegámos à Estefânia nos disseram que já estava novamente, portanto, que a cirurgia pouco tinha feito ou nada e que teria que ser intervencionada com alguma urgência. E foi quando a América de Desenvolvimento na Estefânia nos disse, vamos marcar aqui para a doutora Rita, que está cá no hospital, e vamos ouvir novamente. Em que nos disse que não era necessariamente assim tão urgente.
This is repeating.
Estes óculos novamente, ela leva-os nos olhos.
Uma das coisas teria sido conseguir-se ter feito aquela intervenção que fez mais cedo. Ainda tivemos um tempo à espera.
Queria ser explicada, queria ser informada sobre o que era o Strabismus na altura, e não houve muito essa recepção, digamos assim, da médica na altura da Estefânia.
Hi, I'm Amanda. We are an Australian-Scottish family currently living in Singapore. Pippa is our daughter. She's 13 and she also happens to have Down syndrome. Pippa has been under ophthalmologist care since she was about 2 years old. At this age, we didn't see any major issues with her vision, but we knew that vision issues with Down syndrome are common. And so we felt that it was important to get her assessed and be ready for anything that may come up in the future. Ophthalmology assessments are rigorous and exhausting for small children, especially children with special needs whose attention span is limited, who can't often verbalize the issues that they're having or even answer simple questions. For us, it was important to find a doctor that understood that dealing with small children with special needs is something that needs to be very considered and very thought out, and that typical means of vision assessments may not work, and that you may need to think outside the box to try and get even the simplest of assessments. We were fortunate to find a number of doctors along the way who understood this and worked well with Pippa, sometimes not always successful, but at least they were patient and tried. Something that I think that's really important for all doctors dealing with individuals with special needs to consider is that these people benefit from vision improvements, so all efforts should be made to try and get the results. and that all options that are discussed should be considered with the best interests of the patients, regardless of their diagnosis. Pippa's treatment was prolonged for several years because we had a doctor who felt that it was better to wait and see, even though we knew that eventually she would need some kind of resolution for her alignment issues. We found a doctor who explained to us that the strabismus could be greatly improved with a simple surgery. We discussed all the possibilities, including the issues that may come up, and we decided to go ahead with the surgery. The whole procedure took about 45 minutes, which was shocking for all of us because we expected it to last much longer. The initial discomfort lasted about 3 days, but we managed this with a comprehensive pain management package, and that really helped us get through everything. Post-surgery, we can clearly see the improvement in our alignment. So we're really pleased that we've made that choice. We just wish we'd done it a bit earlier. For caregivers, I think it's really important to find a doctor who is proactive with information, and a doctor that understands that good vision is important regardless of your diagnosis and regardless of what your future outcomes may be. Doctors also need to understand that caregivers may be dealing with a number of different health issues at the same time, and that they're giving clear and understandable information that caregivers can take away, digest, and come back with questions if they need to. But doctors also need to understand that caregivers may not even know that the questions that they may ask. It's important that care is seen as a team effort and that everyone involved in making decisions for an individual with special needs understands what the outcomes may be and how they can benefit that individual in the future.
Since when she was 4 years, at that time actually slowly we have observed is the watering from the eyes has come down slowly, little bit actually. So we felt that why that water is coming. Sometimes we thought that it may be of dust allergy or something like that. So we have not taken that much of the. After that we are seeing that it was continuously the water from the eyes, and then slowly sometimes what happens, she is not able to see that objects also properly. So near vision she is not able to see clearly. When we ask her to, she is not able to pick up. So we thought that why she is not able to pick up, maybe it's an eye problem or something. And after that, it has increased to that she has started slowly she bending her head also. So seeing that because she is not able to see that images properly, so she started putting her head down. Then we have clearly observed that something wrong is going on with her eyes maybe. Let us go for the checkup. So we went to one private hospital for checkups of what actually the problem she is having it. So then they said that she has them eye issues there, vision problem is there. At the same time squint and some head tilt is also there. For that, what doctor has recommended us to go for that surgery. Immediate surgery is required for the child. So, but at that time we are not ready to go for the surgery. So we thought that why don't we go for that second option for that. Let us take one from another doctor, one more option that whether really it is required or not, because we don't want to give the problem to our child. So next we visited that LV Prasad hospital, we visited here. And then after the checkup, what the doctors have suggested is that let's give her the 6 months of gap. Don't we go for immediate thing. Let us see with the drops, if it is going on proper way, then the surgery is not required. As why we want to give the trouble to the child, because he has to face that. So the reason we have taken that gap of 6 months of this thing. But after that also we have saw that that the correction is very less. Not that high level of correction we has not found. It's very less. So doctor then he has suggested that let's go for the surgery and see how much we are getting that. Let us see for the child, as she is a Down syndrome. And one more thing is that she has other problems also. Heart problem is also there. She has undergone through open heart surgery also. So we have to think for that surgery part. So at last we don't have options. So we have gone through surgeries for.
As always, we continue to learn a lot from every one of these videos. Mina, children with Down syndrome also get strabismus. And anything that that we do differently or are we approaching the issues the same? Are kids with Down syndrome more likely to have more surgery? Anything that you want to bring to this?
I'm not sure if I do things differently, but I do try to take stress off parents and try to hear from them if the squint is a problem for them and for their environment, because then it becomes a problem for the kid too. I think that's the main point, that I throw the ball to them and ask them to describe what their problem is. If it is a head tilt, if the child's being pointed at or bullied because of the squint, then I will go ahead, because then it will probably be their wish, their choice to go ahead with squint surgery.
Right. So you just raised both issues, right? The functional issue and the bullying and the other social interaction issue. Max, what if the child doesn't want to wear glasses? It's a child with accommodative component to their strabismus. What do we do? These issues may be more in a child with Down syndrome.
Yeah, thanks, David. Before saying that, I want to just add something to the first question you made to Mina. It's there are still, I'm talking about my country, there are still, I don't know if many, but definitely several ophthalmologists that think that strabismus surgery is not important for children with special needs. Because they say, whatever, it's not a big issue. It's a minor issue. You don't need to do surgery for that. They do not understand really what strabismus means and what means to fix strabismus. And I know you wrote, I think, an editorial or something like that about cosmetic and reconstructive surgery on strabismus. So it's very important to emphasize the fact that strabismus surgery is at least a reconstructive surgery, not cosmetic surgery. Together with other things. And about glasses and the accommodative component, I try to talk with parents and to try to understand if the child can wear glasses. If he can, or if they think he can, I try. Anyway, I try before deciding everything. And if they wear glasses, that's fine. I do what I do with every patient. If they don't wear glasses, this is a big problem. So that is very difficult to understand what to do.
Understood.
I don't think there is an answer.
Yeah, I think you raised a very important point about doctors who say it's not worth it to try and do strabismus surgery. I'm offended by that, because I feel very strongly that our job is not to judge a child's potential. Our job is to help them reach their potential. Chianti, some kids will get nasolacrimal duct obstruction. We have a different lid structure. Any thoughts or comments or help in those situations?
Yes. Well, regarding the severity, I think yes. At some point, if it's very severe and it's very the obstruction is quite significant, and especially when there's a lid problem where the epiblepharon and the eyelashes are constantly rubbing against the ocular surface, then I think surgery should be the options that we explain to parents. That the problem in Indonesia is that eyelid surgery and strabismus surgery are still considered cosmetic surgery. So most insurance will not cover. So, but of course we know that it's a reconstructive surgery. Constant eyelash rubbing into the eye can cause or aggravate keratoconus and can worsen the astigmatism of the child. So of course, but the decision is, again, I will leave to the parents, because they will have to have a specific finances to allocate to their children and for these conditions. And of course, I explain to them the best options, and that it is not a cosmetic surgery, it's a reconstructive surgery, but the final say is always with them, because, well, yeah, I don't have any, my hands are tied because of some insurance issues, and
David,
that's the most problem.
I just wanted to ask Ramesh, yesterday, great talk about strabismus in Down syndrome, and I encourage people who are listening to this to look at that. If you have a child who has a nasolacrimal duct obstruction and has strabismus, do you do both procedures at the same time? Do you clear it and then do the strabismus at the same time?
Clear it and then do the strabismus. So
at the second sitting?
Yeah.
What if the child has a heart problem and the anesthesiologist is asking you to do it at the same time? Would you? Would the panel do it at the same time? What would you do?
Then probably I would consider, like there was a strabismus surgery indication was going on. It all depends upon the complexity of each child. So having said that, I won't differentiate from the normal kid, but if they have a heart disease, all that, if they have done 2 months ago heart surgery, I will not push them for strabismus surgery. But if they have both the heart problem and other risk factors where I had to do, I would do both together in the worst, in this kind of specific scenario. I have not encountered it yet, but that's what I would consider.
I would love to ask everybody else. Go ahead, but we are running out of time, that's all. Go ahead, quickly.
Sorry.
Go ahead, quick.
Sorry, I try to do both together if it happens, and to reduce the possibility of second surgery for nasolacrimal duct obstruction, I try to do nasolacrimal duct intubation as first surgery and not probing as normal I do up to 1 year, 1 year of age. So I try to do, right away the nasolacrimal duct intubation to reduce the risk of second surgery.
Okay, so everybody hold, if you have something to say about this, hold on to it, because I really want to try and get these videos done. So we'll run through
Actually, for the surgery, when we for eye surgery, when we are here in the hospital, I was very nervous, first of all. So again, because already she has undergone through open heart surgery, so that was a very bad experience for me. So again, one more experience means it's a big, as for a mother, being a mother, I have a very big challenge. Then again, one more surgery means I don't know how she's going to face that. And she was just 5 years at that time. And she doesn't know anything. So again, going and giving in the surgery and in putting in front of the doctor means, again, it's a big, already she has a fear actually, sir, because when she sees the doctor's coat and that thing in the uniform and everything, when we see that, because she has already fear of that operation, last operation was there. So again, she was becoming nervous and she started crying. Literally, she was crying. And here, one more bad thing is what happened actually, because my husband is not allowed. Only one attendance is allowed in the surgery place. So only I have to go as a mother. I have to go and sit. Even I was nervous, so I don't know how to take my daughter into the operation theater. So then they given the gowns and we are getting ready, making her to get ready for that operation and everything. So it was a very horrible situation for me at that time. It would have God has given that problem to me. It would have been better why he has given this challenge to my daughter, because that pain I'm not able to take it, but I have to go.
Okay, we're going to move on now, just very briefly. So this is what I'm going to show you now it's called A Social Story, and the child play specialist at Pittsburgh worked with this mother. Dr. Hayasat, who's one of my colleagues, actually did all the groundwork for this, and they made a story to help the child understand what was going to go on. Here we go.
Very good. Do you like your book that Jaslyn made you and Dr. Hayasat helped us? Look, the lady on the picture here. Let me show you. Where's Dr. Hayasat? She's in the book too. Airplane. There, Dr. Nischel and Dr. Hayasat.
He's going to do the surgery, and she also does the surgery, but she was also helping us with this book. Okay, go ahead. What's the next page say? Good. You cannot touch your eye. You have to remember to keep it safe. Right. Good job. I said again.
Okay, I'm going to go on. We'll talk about this for time for the last few videos.
Well, my message to other families with kids with Down syndrome, as far as ophthalmological issues are concerned, is visit the doctor. Visit the ophthalmologist often, because as you may know, people with Down syndrome may face more issues, ophthalmological issues. So going to the doctor, listening to the science is the best thing to do.
First point, I used to say that to the doctors, that whatever the problem is there with the child, what are the challenges they are finding in the child, so that challenge they should tell to the parents in a very soft manner, first of all. Then in the counseling way, step by step, they should tell to the parent, because they have a lots of fear in their mind and their heart that what the doctor is going to tell us. Because instantly when we will say that this is what you are having with your child and this is what the challenge you're going to face in the earlier stage, so the parent may won't be able to accept that thing. See, some parent may can accept because they are educated, but the people who are not educated, for them it's a very big challenge. So they will go to the depression part, and because of this depression part, what is happening is they are not able to take the further step. They are not able to take the child. They all the time the question was there in their mind that this problem is my child is having, but they are not thinking that how to overcome that. So once if we will tell you in the step-by-step way and in a very counseling and in the slow manner, if you will convince the parent, then tomorrow at least they will, okay, only this thing is that. At that time what happened, the problem will become very small for them. Okay, this is only now. Okay, fine. If we will do this therapy or if we will go to this doctor, the problem is solved. So where is the tension part? The tension part is not there. Parents will not go into the depression part. They will not go to the stress point, and they will try to overcome that thing for the child. I'm also running an organization of Down syndrome, Parental Down Syndrome Association. Why I have started this, why today I am here, I'm a particular housewife. I don't even know how to go to the next door also. I used to sit at home only. That is my life, actually. But when my daughter was born and I find out this all problem, the first doctor when I went to before she was at, I think, she's 3 months, 4 months, it seems. So I went to the doctor because she's having the dehydration problem, vomiting problem, and we have to join her into the hospital. So why this is all happening? Her brain is also, the milestones is also delayed. So somebody suggested us to, why don't you go for some doctor and show them? I went to one endo. I don't want to take the name of the doctor, but because why I'm telling this truth, because I have faced. No other parent should fit and no other doctor should say this with the parents. So the reason I'm openly saying, I don't know it is wrong or right, sir, but I'm openly saying this, what I have faced. So when I taken my daughter to there, they have seen my doctor. They said that she has a thyroid problem and these all things she's having it. They told us openly, fine. But one point what the doctor has said, it made me die at that time immediately. He said that why you want to take this child. You just throw it out, or you just left that child. Why you want to take that child? Because always it will be a headache for you. So once if the doctor will say this point to a parent, so what is the pain of the parents? So nowadays, I know awareness is there, but still some doctors is talking like that. So when that one doctor will say this point to a parent, see, being we are bold, so I am educated at least, so we have taken it in a positive way. How you will say like that? No, we will show that my daughter is not like that. We will prove my daughter. One day she will show what she is. We won't going to leave. Any parent will not leave their daughter. But these types of, in this way, if the doctor is giving the counseling to the parent, then what is the condition of the parents? I mean, today what I am here is because I'm running this organization or whatever support I'm giving to the parent because of that points. So please don't discourage this type of things to the parents. Give in a positive way, positive response, give them the positivity to the parent and give the strength. We are there for you. We are there to support you. We will give the support to you.
So being the mother of a child with special needs, I just wanted to share with those of you that might be watching today, especially those professionals out there, that it's really difficult as a parent a lot of times when you're taking your child in to go and see a physician and you feel that anxiety, which I truly believe pushes off onto our children. And it's so comforting to know when you find a physician that you can really trust and that also feels very comfortable with your child. It's extremely helpful for the entire family. The child wants to come back, so there isn't all that angst before you get there. You may not even see that. You may not even recognize what happens before a parent brings a child to your office. And I've been very, very appreciative in knowing that I can say, hey, we're going to Dr. Granite's office, or we're going to go and see, some of the people that are there in the office. There's a prize box, when they were younger. So those little things that may not seem like much to you are really huge things and don't only support just the child or just your patient, but also the entire family.
Okay, well, I'm a little bit speechless, but I wanted to say one thing was the social story that Dr. Hayasat did with the mother. I've never done that before in my life. And it completely changed how this child was able, they put pictures of the hospital where he was going to enter, my picture, Dr. Hayasat's picture, and I think it's a great idea. It's a lot of effort, but I think it's something that we are going to do much, much more often, even with children who don't have special needs, but have anxiety. And it's something that I want to try and make as part of our preamble, if you like, before they get to the hospital. Does anybody
you know how you know that idea is brilliant? And it is brilliant, is that in retrospect, it appears obvious. Yeah. And it's just obvious we should be doing that once you saw it. I'm like, well, how come we've not been doing that? And so brilliant. And I'm going to try and get a copy of that.
What mothers in previous videos asked for. They asked for clear information. They asked for support. They asked for team effort. And they asked to feel that they are embraced by us professionals. It's exactly a response to that which they have asked for.
Yeah, I'm very lucky that I have great colleagues like Dr. Hayasat to do it, because I wouldn't have thought of it. So anyway.
One of the other interesting things about these videos, Ken, is that we heard about a number of people that started foundations to help their own kids. My last patient started Down Syndrome Action, or DS Action, here in San Diego. And we heard about Mauro's patient who started a foundation. We heard about Mamesh's patient that started a foundation. I mean, these are people who want to make a difference for children, and we need to be listening to them.
Ken, what a privilege to be part of this panel And what an emotional webinar we had today. Sometimes tears came from my eyes. We cannot underestimate any child ability. We have to push them for the best they can. And I just learned from my autistic daughter who wrote a book. Now I can tell the name of the book. The name of the book is Imperfect. And she taught me that the only thing that makes us equal is that we are all imperfect. So take this in consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, Mauro. So look, fine. I think, Mauro, I'm going to take that as your final comment because I don't think you could say anything more powerful than what you've just said. Mina, no crying.
I often come to this during the consultation, and it's hard to keep it not showing. I hope that I live up to the responsibility that I feel I have towards my patients. I completely feel, as one of the parents said, that I became a better person through doing this profession and working with children and working with families. And I feel the responsibility because I'm supposed to be educating them, but in fact, first of all, I have to be educating myself from them and from science. And I really feel privileged also to be part of this group and learn from you all and from the actions that we put down together. Thank you.
Max?
Let me thank you to be a part of this panel. My only last suggestion is what I said before. I mean, be a doctor, not just an ophthalmologist.
One for Adio. You're muted. You're muted.
Okay, I want to say that good vision is very important for anyone, especially those who have disability, children with special needs. We must ensure that we as pediatric ophthalmologists do everything we can to keep them having good vision, because that is what they need to be able to achieve the ultimate that they can achieve in life. They can't do anything without vision. So that's very important for us to take all of them. Okay, anyone with special needs deserve to be given the same attention as typically developing children. Thank you.
Chianti, you're muted.
Yes, thank you. It's a very emotional session tonight, and I want to thank the opportunity to be in this panel. And I think at the end of the day, parents and patients with special needs, I'm also learning a lot from them, how patience is very important, and that especially from yesterday's webinar, Down syndrome children can pick up any negative vibes from us or from the other staff and can sense our impatience. So it is very important that we can create a positive environment and energy inside the examination room for us from the staff. And so these patients feel comfortable and the family feel comfortable and can get rid of the anxieties. And I think because most of these patients will become a lifelong patient, hopefully for me, it is important that we build that bond and trust and that relationship. And I'm still learning a lot, and I've seen the videos from these parents, and they really open up new perspectives. And thank you. I think that's for me.
Thank you, Ramesh.
Yeah, I sincerely want to thank everybody for this, everyone's contribution today. I just had one comment and advice. I don't know whether it's a real advice. I just take medical practice as our blend of art and science. Science, we keep on improving by attending CMEs. I keep on learning the art from the patients I deal with. and the program we did like this. So each interaction with my colleagues who are professionals, as well as my patients, they teach us a lot. I keep continuing it. I request all of us should do that. Thank you.
Ramesh, before I go to David, I just want to thank you. This was your brainchild. It was a wonderful idea. Thank you for thinking of it and then making it happen. David?
So I'll give two things that came out. One is what I'll call in honor of Mauro's daughter, my Julie truism, which is what I said earlier. Our job is not to judge a child's potential. Our job is to help them reach it. And Julie has certainly reinforced that lesson for me. And the other is that what Max brought up and we said earlier, which is we help people. And in this case, I'll change that to we help families. That's our job description, and keep helping those families.
Okay, we're running over by about 5 minutes. So hang on, everybody. What I want to finish off with is another video. And in this particular video, the Rita Gamma, who is well known to many of you, asks a child with Down syndrome what she would like to tell other children who are special like her, what message she'd like to give.
Olha, queres dizer alguma coisa aos outros meninos que vão ouvir isto? O que é que queres dizer?
Olha, eu queria entrar lá para o Voice Kids. No Voice Kids, receber bem as palavras que eles estão a cantar, dizer isto. Estou a aprender e eu gosto muito de cantar e dançar.
Ora bem, temos uma artista, não é?
Muito mesmo, e danço mesmo.
É?
E toco, a flauta.
Muito bem. Tu vais mascarar, Clara?
Eu não sei.
Não sabes? Não gostas? Não. Está bem. Então, mas cantas e danças, podes cantar e dançar no carnaval.
Isso é assim.
Well, you know, if ever there was a moment that you had to remember that children are children and they're all different. Sometimes they're different because we label them with the medical diagnosis, which helps them, of course, but children are children. On that note, upcoming WSPOS webinars. This is really important for everybody to note. We've got number 4 coming, Dissociative Strabismus, Saturday, 23rd of April. Webinar 5 is going to be a joint World Glaucoma Association and WSPOS webinar, 21st of May. Please watch out for those. Remember, membership benefits. There's loads of them. It's free. WSPOS and CAGR have an arrangement for Ophthalmic Research Journal. We have an arrangement with Journal of Binocular Vision and Ocular Motility. Remember that the membership is free. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We now have over 4,000 subscribers. If you want to be part of the famous international pediatric listserv started by David Granite, longer than he would like to admit ago, email him on dgranite@ucsd.edu. Give him this information. Look, thank you, our audience. Without you, this doesn't happen. And this is going to be on YouTube. Parents, if you're listening to this and you think it's useful, please let your various organizations know. Doctors, let your residents know. They need to hear this early in their training. There was a question that came up about hypertrichosis. We will get an answer back to you, Mansa, so your patient will have an answer from us. Sorry, we couldn't answer it live. We want to thank, as I said, our patients and their parents, the Global Down Syndrome organizations, World Down Syndrome Day tomorrow. I want to thank all our Scientific and Connectivity Bureau members, Ethic Bureau members, the panelists today. Honestly, it's been a privilege today. It always is an honor, but today has been an absolute privilege. And without our NTOD, our supporters, this wouldn't happen. And I want to thank our administrators, especially Akila, Maria, and Danielle. Now, on that note, before I go, I want to make a very special announcement. I miss seeing everybody. And on September the 16th of 2022, WSPOS comes back live in its first in-person meeting for a very long time. It's in Milan on September the 16th. Details of abstracts, closing dates, registrations will be announced in the next week or two. 16th of September, the day before we're bolting on with ESCRS. Let's see each other live in Milan. Thank you very much indeed. And panelists, audience, it's been a wonderful, wonderful occasion. God bless. Have a wonderful rest of your Sunday.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.